A new Chinese fighter jet may have just killed the aircraft carrier. That is a bold statement. It is a controversial one, but the evidence is mounting. The introduction of China's Shenyang J-35 stealth fighter is not just another piece of hardware, it is a key component in a complex system designed to challenge American naval supremacy. A single powerful fact proves this shift is already underway. China's anti-ship ballistic missiles, like the DF-21D, already have the range to threaten carriers from over 1,500 kilometers away. The J-35 is not the weapon that kills the carrier alone. Instead, it is the critical enabler, the forward scout, and the lethal protector that allows this new ecosystem of long-range weapons to function effectively. The age of the carrier as the undisputed queen of the seas may be coming to a close. An aircraft carrier is, at its core, a mobile military airbase. It is a warship of immense size designed to transport, launch, recover, and support a large number of military aircraft far from its home country. This simple definition belies its true complexity and strategic importance. A modern U.S. supercarrier, for instance, is a nuclear-powered city at sea. It can be over 1,000 feet long. It can displace more than 100,000 tons. It can house a crew of over 5,000 sailors and aviators. It can operate for months. It can operate for years without refueling, giving it nearly unlimited global reach. This mobility is its first great strength. It can move to a crisis spot anywhere in the world in a matter of weeks. The primary function of the carrier is power projection. The ship itself is not the main weapon. The main weapon is its air wing. A typical U.S. carrier air wing consists of 60 to 70 aircraft of various types, F-A-8 types, 8T, Nok 18, Super Hornet, F-35C Lightning II, EA-18G Growler, E-2D Hawkeye, helicopters, anti-submarine warfare, helicopters, search and rescue missions. It is always the centerpiece of a carrier strike group, guided missile cruiser, guided missile destroyers. These escorts are equipped with the advanced Aegis combat system, Aegis tracking sea-skimming cruise missiles, Aegis tracking high-flying ballistic missiles, nuclear-powered attack submarine accompanying the group. This layered defense creates a protective bubble around the carrier, establishing sea control, establishing air superiority, launching continuous patrols of fighter jets, sweeps the skies. Sending out strike packages destroys enemy airfields, command centers, and naval bases, generating a high number of sorties, individual aircraft missions, in a short period measures effectiveness. It projects an umbrella of military power that allows Marines to operate more safely. It allows ground troops to operate more safely. For decades, this model has been the cornerstone of American military strategy, enabling intervention in conflicts far from its own shores. The Shenyang J-35 is China's answer to the American F-35. It is a twin-engine, medium-weight, fifth-generation stealth fighter. The fifth-generation designation is critical. It means the aircraft is designed from the ground up with a focus on very low observability, or stealth. Its shape materials coatings are all engineered to make it extremely difficult for enemy radar systems to detect, track, and target. This is its single most important feature. A stealth fighter can penetrate deep into enemy airspace, often unseen, to gather intelligence or launch a surprise attack. The J-35 is purpose-built for carrier operations, reinforced undercarriage, tailhook for arrested landings on a short flight deck. Folding wings allow denser stowage in a carrier hangar. Initially developed as the FC-31, an export-focused land-based fighter, the design was heavily modified and improved for the People's Liberation Army Navy. Its intended home is on China's new generation of carriers, like the Fujian, which is equipped with electromagnetic catapults similar to those on the newest American carriers. To understand the potential impact of the J-35, we must look at history. Naval warfare has been defined by revolutionary shifts where dominant systems are made obsolete. For centuries, the biggest guns and thickest armor ruled the waves. The age of the battleship reached its zenith in the early 20th century. Britain's HMS Dreadnought, Japan's Yamato. These floating fortresses were symbols of national power. Doctrine centered on lines of battleships pounding each other with massive cannons. That reality was shattered in World War II. The aircraft carrier, once a fragile support ship, became the true arbiter of naval power. British raid on Taranto, 1940, Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, 1941, the decisive Battle of Midway, 1942, A single torpedo or bomb could sink a battleship for a fraction of the cost. The battleship's day was over. The carrier's day had begun. Cold War. The US built nuclear supercarriers unmatched in size and capability. Power projection. From Vietnam, power projection in the Persian Gulf. Rivals like the Soviet Union tried to counter them. Long-range bombers with carrier-killer missiles. Fleets of attack submarines. Threats were serious but never fully broke the carrier's dominance. Carrier-layered defenses and powerful air wings ensured survival. The carrier remained the queen of the chessboard. Today we may be witnessing another revolution. This one is a system of systems, not a single platform. Section 5, Threat Vector 1, the tyranny of distance. The first major way the J-35 degrades a carrier's value is by weaponizing distance. An aircraft carrier's combat power is tied to the range of its aircraft. The F/A-18 Super Hornet, the workhorse of the U.S. carrier fleet, has a combat radius of roughly 500 nautical miles, about 926 kilometers. That means a carrier must get within that range to strike effectively. For decades, that was acceptable risk. Now China is building a layered arsenal of long-range anti-ship missiles to push carriers farther out, creating a vast, no-go zone. This strategy is called Anti-Access Area Denial, A2AD. China's most famous A2AD weapons are anti-ship ballistic missiles, ASBMs. The DF-21D is often called the carrier killer, with a published range over 1,500 kilometers. The DF-26 can reportedly strike up to 4,000 kilometers. They're launched from mobile land launchers, fly into the upper atmosphere, then release a maneuverable re-entry vehicle that plummets at hypersonic speed. Intercepting those weapons is exceptionally difficult. If a commander knows missiles can reach 1,500 kilometers, they're forced to operate outside that threat ring, well beyond the carrier's 926-kilometer aircraft radius. This is where the J-35 becomes a game-changer. The biggest challenge for ASBMs is finding and tracking a moving carrier at sea. Satellites can give initial detection, but a stealthy J-35 can fly covertly to the suspected carrier location. Using advanced sensors, it can get precise, real-time targeting without being easily detected. Then, it can relay final targeting data to launchers hundreds of miles away for the attack's final phase. The J-35 acts as the forward observer, making the whole kill chain more reliable. The result? A strategic dilemma for the U.S. Navy. If a carrier stays outside enemy missile range, it becomes a multi-billion-dollar asset that can't strike the shore. Its air wing is effectively neutered by distance. If it moves inside the missile range to enable strikes, it faces unacceptably high risk from weapons it struggles to defend against. To strike deep inside mainland China, a carrier might need to operate a few hundred kilometers off the coast. That would place it deep in the densest part of the A2AD bubble, where it could be targeted not just by ASBMs, cruise missiles, and submarines. The carrier is caught in a strategic vice. The second threat vector is the power of modern ISR. Intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. In the past, the ocean's vastness was a carrier's best defense. Finding a small group of ships in millions of square miles was like finding a needle in a haystack. This is no longer the case. China has invested heavily in a multi-layered, redundant sensor network designed to find, fix, and track U.S. carrier strike groups across the Western Pacific. This network underpins its A2AD strategy. A weapon is useless if it does not know where to aim. China is determined its weapons are never blind. Over-the-horizon coastal radars, imaging satellites, electronic intelligence satellites, long-endurance high-altitude drones, civilian vessels reporting sightings, China's large fishing fleet as sensors. Each system has pros and cons. Networked together, they create a persistent, overlapping maritime picture. The J-35 is a crucial node. Satellites and land radar give general locations. The J-35 supplies high-fidelity, real-time targeting data. Its stealth lets it get closer to a carrier group, potentially without triggering a massive defensive response. From that vantage, its radar and electronic sensors confirm the carrier's exact identity. Confirm its course. Confirm its speed. That's the final piece of the targeting puzzle. A satellite might detect a ship group. The J-35 can confirm which ship is the high-value carrier and which are the escorts. This all-seeing network changes carrier survivability. Constant tracking creates permanent vulnerability. The third major threat vector is the shift in combat economics, moving towards saturation attacks. A single Ford-class aircraft carrier costs over $13 billion. The cost of its air wing adds several billion more. The escort ships in its strike group represent another $10 billion or more. This makes a carrier strike group an extraordinarily expensive, high-value asset. The strategic logic of China's approach is to threaten this $25 to $30 billion target with weapons that are significantly cheaper and more numerous. This is the principle of asymmetric warfare, using your opponent's strength against them. The concept is to overwhelm the carrier's defenses with a saturation attack or a swarm. A carrier strike group's Aegis defense system is incredibly powerful, but it is not infinite. It has a limited number of interceptor missiles, a limited number of fire control channels, and a limited ability to engage simultaneous multi-axis threats. The goal is to throw more threats than defenses can handle. The attack might consist of a coordinated volley of anti-ship ballistic missiles from above, sea-skimming cruise missiles from multiple directions, and submarine-launched torpedoes from below, all arriving at the target at roughly the same time. The J-35 plays a vital role in this complex attack choreography. They can provide terminal guidance for the ballistic missiles. They can escort swarms of cheaper subsonic cruise missiles or attack drones, protecting them from the carrier's defending fighter jets. They can use electronic warfare to jam the carrier group's radars, creating corridors for incoming missiles. While the challenges posed by the J-35 and China's A2AD network are profound, it would be a mistake to declare the aircraft carrier obsolete just yet. The U.S. Navy is not a static force. It is keenly aware of these threats and is actively developing technological and tactical countermoves. The carrier has been adaptable for over 80 years. The first counter: improve the carrier's layered defenses, upgrade the Aegis combat system software, develop interceptor missiles like the SM-6, invest in directed energy weapons, high-powered lasers and microwave systems. Second line: extend the carrier air wing's range. The Navy is investing in the MQ-25 Stingray unmanned aerial tanker. MQ-25 will refuel fighters mid-air, extending their combat radius and letting carriers stay farther from threats. Future long-range strike weapons are in development. Unmanned combat air vehicles are in development. These drones could penetrate deep, holding targets at risk without endangering the carrier. The Navy is shifting to distributed maritime operations. DMO spreads naval forces over a wider area instead of concentrating them. Carriers may operate disaggregated, supported by smaller, more numerous surface vessels, and potentially unmanned surface vessels. This makes enemy targeting much harder. Finally, invest in the kill chain to counter threats. Find and destroy mobile launchers, jam OTH radars, and degrade satellite reconnaissance. The Shenyang J-35 is more than just a new fighter jet. It is a potent symbol of a fundamental transformation in naval warfare. On its own, the J-35 does not kill the carrier, but as a critical enabler within a sophisticated network of long-range missiles, advanced sensors, and asymmetric tactics, it poses the most serious challenge to the aircraft carrier's dominance since World War II. It helps solve the targeting problem for long-range missiles. It acts as a key node in a pervasive surveillance network, and it serves as a force multiplier for complex saturation attacks. Together, these capabilities threaten to push carriers so far from shore that their primary mission becomes untenable. The three threat vectors: weaponization of distance, the all-seeing ISR network, unfavorable economics of saturation attacks, combine to place the traditional carrier concept in jeopardy. The safety bubble that once surrounded the carrier is shrinking rapidly. The open ocean, once a sanctuary, is becoming a transparent and dangerous battle space. While the U.S. Navy is actively developing countermeasures, longer-range aircraft and distributed tactics, the strategic momentum appears to be shifting. The cost-benefit analysis of deploying a $30 billion carrier strike group into a contested zone is becoming increasingly unfavorable. The era of the carrier as the unchallenged queen of the seas is likely over. The warning is clear: navies that continue to build their strategies around the carrier doctrine of the 20th century risk preparing brilliantly for the last war.